Welcome to Freed on Business. He grew up in South Florida, has been in business here since the early 90s, and has closed over $3 billion in deals. He's seen it all. He always has an opinion, and he's always ready to share it. Informed, entertaining, and connected, he has his finger on the pulse of South Florida's business community. He's Jim Freed, and this is Freed on Business.
Well, hey, everybody, welcome to the show today. We've got an amazing show. It's all about the kids and all about you. It's all about the things that are really important to me. We've got one of my most favorite people in the whole world, one of my mentors when it comes to children's issues. Dr. David Lawrence is with us today. We've also got the folks from the Education Fund. Regan, bring them on in. Hey, there we are. And we also have Marlene. I never get the names right. Marilen Marnett.
Marilen Marnett.
Marilen Marnett. And we even ran that before. And David tried to say how, but I'm sorry, but you can call me Mr. Fried for the entire show.
As I remember it, Marilen, I had your name right, didn't I?
You did. You were perfect.
But
yes.
Jim, you're the only guy who's sort of messing it up here.
That's my gig, though. I do that. Have you read all the books that are back there, David?
I have.
Oh, my gosh. You're the smartest guy I know.
I read 2 books a week religiously.
You're tremendous.
No.
Well, we're going to learn all about what we're doing with the Education Fund, why it's important, why you need to participate right after this. So, Mr. Mendoza, we call him Regan Mendoza on our show. We did that just for the folks on the show. Take it away. It's yours. And then we'll be back with why it's so important to support the local kids and what we're doing to help. Yeah, those were all pictures we took off of buildings in Wynwood. I've done a couple of different transactions in Wynwood, the Lennar deal and also one of the related deals. If you need any help in real estate, give me a call. But remember, when you're looking to buy or lease a car, you want to get every advantage that you can. That's why you have to check out Warren Henry, Land Rover, Range Rover, Infiniti, and Jaguar up at 151st and Biscayne. Up in Gainesville, they sell Audis. Down in the Keys, they sell them all. What do all those nameplates have in common? Well, they're all great cars, and they all come with the Warren Henry advantage. Got to reach around and get my list of good stuff. Because there's such a long list of things that you get when you're a member of the Warren Henry family. You get the Warren Henry advantage. What is that? Like I said, it's a whole long list of things. You get complimentary service loaner, dynamic wheel protection, which means if you mess up your rims, they will polish them up for you. You also get key replacement. Those keys cost like $100 if you lose them. Also, they'll make sure you get the best price. And of course, if you don't like your car, you get 3 days to return it. Guess what? Nobody returns their cars. They all love them. I just got a car. I've had it for more than 72 hours. I didn't return it. Our car is amazing. The new QX60. Thank you so much to Diego for helping us buy our car. And remember, always the best price. Always the best service, always Warren Henry. Hey, everybody, give me a call if you need some commercial real estate help, because if you were watching that Warren Henry commercial, the car went right by at the end, one of the deals I did, 1000 Museum. Give me a call. If I can help you, I can help you with your personal stuff. I'm helping one of my clients with 2 Airbnb type properties he owns in the Keys. We're going to refinance those for him. I'm also creating my new stretch construction program where we can do almost 100% of cost for people up to like $250 million. Talking to all the condo and apartment guys about that right now. Call me. What am I really doing? I'm helping families execute their real estate plans. And guess what? You already know. When you call me, it's always all about you.
Welcome back to Freed on Business. Connect with us on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter at Jim Freed or at Freed on Business, and on Instagram at Jim Freed1. Now, back to your host, Jim Freed.
You know, if you watch all those little vignettes, they always have at least one or two doffs of the hat to transactions that I've done. So make sure you keep an eye out in there. And one day, Mr. Mendoza and I will talk about which they are. Now, we're here today with Marilen Marnett. Did I at least get it right the 55th time I tried? No.
Marilen. Think Marilen.
Think of Marilyn Monroe and work from there.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. David Lawrence. Dr. Lawrence is the number one children's advocate, I think, on the planet. Mm-hmm. And Marilen, she is helping me with the education fund, and we are raising money to put cash into the schools so that the teachers can buy the stuff that they need. Welcome to the show, everybody. And I want to start a little bit with Marilen. Marilen, tell us a little bit about what the Education Fund is and why David and I support you.
So the Education Fund, it's been around for over 30 years. We are sanctioned by the Miami-Dade County Public School Board, but we are a separate entity. And we started by giving grants to teachers so that they could continue offering innovative and hands-on projects for kids in the classrooms. And from there, we've grown to having food forests in schools and, programs to prepare kids for college and other career paths. The project that we're working on is the Teach-a-thon, where we have business professionals step into the shoes of a teacher, go into the classroom, teach a lesson, see how difficult it is, especially this year that it's virtual, keeping those kids' attentions, and fundraising in order to give the funds back to those teachers and to the other programs that we offer.
Well, I'm very excited. I'm going to be teaching for two different teachers. First, I'm going to be teaching a bunch of special needs young adults from Coral Park. I'm going to be doing that Friday morning. And our class is going to be about how to do an interview. And the first thing I'm going to tell them is, remember, you're sitting in the chair getting the interview because the person wants to hire you. Feel good about yourself and project your best inner self and smile. And guess what? I'll bet you're going to get the job. Dr. Lawrence. Oh, and then the second one I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be teaching like the whole day, 2 separate days at Coral Gables Senior, a bunch of AP students. I'm very excited about that. But that really does show the whole spectrum of kids that we'll be able to talk to. And Dr. Lawrence, why is it so important for us in our community to get involved with the kids?
Okay, so let me back up for a second and say I have some honorary doctorates, but I'm not a real doctor of anything. So just call me Dave Lawrence would be just fine. So I began learning about all of this from doing an assignment for a statewide task force for Lawton Childs back in 1996. I had been in the newspaper business for more than 30 years as reporter, editor, or publisher. And what I learned focused on early childhood is if you ever got those years right, you'd probably have every other year right. So there is no question that we have made progress in Miami-Dade. We've had an outstanding school superintendent. We're about to get a new one. We stand out in Florida. We stand out in the nation. But we're a long way from the promised land when approximately 2 out of every 5 fourth graders cannot read at minimally proficient levels. So what do we know? We know that 85% of brain growth occurs by the age of 3. We know that about 30% of children start school way behind, and then most of them get further behind. We know that teachers work hard and care, but it's hard to catch up when you miss the early years of language and other development. We know that children need to grow a number of ways: intellectually, socially, emotionally, behaviorally, developmentally, physically. And so increasingly there is an effort in the earliest years where you could make the most difference. So if you, Jim, or Marilen are nervous and uptight sometimes, and I hope you are, because I am.
Always.
No,
Yes.
I think that's important, and you perform better, you rise to the occasion, etc. Well, I think that's natural as long as you have enough chutzpah to go ahead and do some things. So I like to be a little nervous before I speak and so forth. But if a kindergarten or first grade student already says, I can't do this, all the other kids seem to be able to do it, and people have to have their own space, and so they act up and out. Teachers special track them. Some give up on them. Many do not give up on them. Most do not give up on them. But here's one more statistic. I'll give you two more statistics. Number one, if 100 children at the end of first grade are inadequate, poor, non-readers, at the end of fourth grade, 88 of the 100 are still in the same boat. Second statistic, 3/4 of all 17 to 24 years old, 4-year-olds in this country, 17 to 24, cannot enter the American military. They have a physical problem. They have a substance abuse challenge. They have a physical challenge. Or they have an academic challenge. So this isn't like when I went to the University of Florida and I was in ROTC. You had to be in ROTC at that time, and you learned how to clean an M1 rifle. We have a highly sophisticated military. It's the best meritocracy in this country. But when you have 3 out of 4 who cannot enter the American military, you got a real problem of national security and the future of the United States of America. So that's why I devote all my efforts. That's how the Children's Trust came to be, which this year will disperse north of $170 million in Miami-Dade County. That's how pre-K came about. Alex Pinellas, the then mayor, and I led a campaign for constitutional amendment. We now have more than 150,000 4-year-olds each year in 4-year-old pre-K. But I also insist at the same time, you can be way behind at age 4. And so people like Marilen work really hard to catch kids up. And we can do a lot of that, but much smarter if we can get there earlier, much earlier.
Well, there seems to be a lot of pressure in the environment right now to get this done. There was incredible success at the federal level on helping families out through the pandemic. I really don't like to focus on direct political issues, but I would like to talk about the fact that it seems like getting support to the parents that have students makes sense for America, as you said, on a national security basis.
Well, but here's the real world where Marilen and I operate. First of all, we live in Miami-Dade County, 2.8 million people, larger than 16 states in the country. People like me, non-Hispanic white, we're 15% of the population and only 12% of the 35,000 babies born a year. So what people are trying to do, including myself, is to build a movement for all children. The same principles that raised my 5 children are the same principles that raised somebody else's children. Do some children need more? They absolutely do. So if you think of a high school in Miami-Dade and you say, what's the feeder pattern? Somebody's then going to name a K-8 or a middle school. And then if you name a middle school or a K-8 and ask, well, what's the feeder pattern? You're going to name an elementary school. But if you've got your head together and you can think in this way, think about what comes before elementary school. So we have 1,400 licensed child care sites in Miami-Dade County alone. 1/7 of the population of the state of Florida lives in this community. So I've been to France and Italy and Sweden and lots of other places to look at early childhood. But those are mostly federal operations. The great power in America really is not the federal government. Yeah, if we have a war, it's the great power, and the federal government can do a bunch of things. But the best you can do in this world is be a good example, and that's the opportunity in Miami. Show people what can be done. To a great degree, that's exactly what Alberto Carvalho has done, which is to show people what can be done.
We want to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back, and we'll talk about what we're doing in the community, along with with Dave Lawrence and with
Marilen.
Thank you, Marnett. After this. Where do you find those videos, Mr. Mendoza? They're tremendous. You know what else is tremendous? My friends at Warren Henry. You know, they support our community. We were up there recently when they were giving awards out to the student athletes in Dade County. Met Louis Oliver up there too. High five to Larry, Warren, Eric, Samantha, the whole team up there for what they do to help keep kids in school here in Miami and in Broward County. And if you're looking to buy or lease a car, you want to get every advantage that you can. That's why you have to check out Warren Henry. Land Rover, Range Rover, Infiniti, and Jaguar here at 151st and Biscayne. Up in Gainesville, they sell Audis. Down in the Keys, they sell them all. What do those cars have in common? Well, they're all great cars, and they all come with the Warren Henry Advantage. That's a great suite of services that you get when you buy your car, not the least of which is that you become a member of the Warren Henry family. And believe me, they know every single person that buys a car there, and they treat you like gold. Well, the Warren Henry Advantage is a whole list of services. Like if you lose your keys, they're like $100 a pop to replace those keys. They give them to you for free. Your rims, I always like to park my car close to the curb. Well, if you do and you scrape your rims, I do it all the time, they'll polish them up for you. Lots of other benefits too. One of the best is that if you don't like your car, you can get 72 hours. If you don't like your car, you can exchange it. But guess what? Everybody likes their cars. Nobody exchanges their cars. They're tremendous vehicles. So join me, my mom, lots and lots of my friends, and of course, my beautiful wife, Vivian. We're all members of the Warren Henry family. You should be too. Always the best price, always the best service, always Warren Henry.
This is Becca Carlson from Carlson Integrated. You know, a lot of our clients find that they can do anything, but not really everything. We are always excited to jump in and help. So whether you need another set of hands for a project or even comprehensive marketing management, our team of marketing mavens would love to have a conversation with you to see if we are the right fit. We do everything from logo and design work to email outreach and social media to writing and thought leadership. And here's a fun one. We are now offering our fabulous ebook of top 10 marketing tips on our website for free. So head over to carlsonintegrated.com and grab a copy today. And please always let us know how we can help. My email is Becca, that's BEKAH at carlsonintegrated.com. That's BEKAH at carlsonintegrated.com.
I'm Jim Fried, and I help families execute their real estate plans. That's right. I'm helping a whole bunch of families in town capitalizing their transactions. High-rise multifamily, mid-rise multifamily. That's right. I even found the unicorn. Low-rise multifamily. We're doing all that. We're doing condos. We can get you a stretch construction loan. Like I say, Mr. Mendoza, we can get you a stretch construction loan up to 90+% of cost. I actually talked to somebody today. I might be able to get them 95 or plus for a beautiful apartment deal here in Miami-Dade County. And it's near transit, so people don't even need a car. Give me a call or DM me, but whatever you do, remember, when you call me, it's always all about you.
Welcome back to Freed on Business. Connect with us on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter at Jim Freed or at Freed on Business, and on Instagram at Jim Freed1. Now, back to your host, Jim Freed.
All right, we're back. We're back with David Lawrence, and we're back with Marilen Marnett. So, Dave, I want you to know I used to do great on those SR8 things where they had the different little sizes and shapes of the letters and stuff. So I read by shorthand. It didn't serve me well just then, did it?
Not spectacularly. Okay.
I'm doing the best I can.
And I am too.
I guess I had a little trouble with my early childhood education too. But we're talking about the education fund and funding education here in Miami. We're here with the Education Fund and Dave Lawrence. Dave's been a children's advocate for many, many years. Started working on it back with Governor Childs. Dave, welcome back. So, Marilen, did I get it right?
Marilen. Start thinking of Marilyn Monroe.
3 syllables.
I know, but there's like a gap in there somewhere. Maryland. That's the way I did it, by the way. Maryland. So tell me a little bit about the Education Fund and how people can help.
Well, going back to that teach-a-thon that we're working on, which I do want to mention, cannot forget that it is presented by our good friends at Wells Fargo. If folks are interested in participating or in donating towards the teach-a-thon event, they can go on to educationfund.org/teach-a-thon, just the letters, no hyphens or anything, educationfund.org/teach-a-thon. And you can teach, if you're interested in participating or donating, you can do so anytime through February 28th. Just go on there and contact us, and we'd be happy to have you join us.
That's tremendous. I'll be doing it for a whole bunch of classes. In the past, I've supported their art auction. There it is behind. There. That's it right there. The powder blue in the back. That's it right there. It's a picture of a young person that wants to play for the Marlins. It's really cool. I loved it. I keep it up there all the time.
We're excited to hopefully, after the last 2 years of not being able to host events in person, to bring back those in 2022, our in-person Taste of Education. That's another event where we support the culinary programs in public schools, and it's like a tasting event like you'd see in the tasting events around town. But the interesting part of this is that the chefs are middle and high school students. I haven't been a part of it in the past, but I hear the food is incredible, and we have already selected the recipes, and I mean they sound amazing. I can't wait to try them.
I went last time. It was at Marlin's Ballpark. It was tremendous. Dave, what are some of the other initiatives that you're involved with that are going on right now here in town that people can understand that we're not just a one-trick pony, that we're pushing on all levels here?
Well, there's a whole bunch. It ranges from high-quality childcare and early learning. In this country, probably 80% of childcare is more or less storage and warehousing. Well, that's not going to do much for folks. We're not talking about slots here. We're talking about high quality brain stimulating. So the trust, for instance, has spent millions on the subject of higher quality childcare, higher quality after school. After school is a major issue in America. This is not the country and the way that I grew up on a farm with 8 brothers and sisters. After school care is fundamental. We live in a country where 65%, basically 2/3 of mothers with children between birth and age 5 work outside the home. This is a very changed world. Another area is health care. Every child deserves a high quality medical home. Every child deserves to have enough to eat. We got 1 out of every 5 people in this state who have it at one point or another in their year end up with hurting for food, not getting enough food, not getting three square meals. The school system here has been extremely thoughtful on this subject and to make sure that every child has a chance, not just Title I schools, has a chance for a high quality, nutritious breakfast. So another program we work with is called Children of Inmates. There is an extraordinary chance if daddy or mommy was in prison, maybe you'll be in prison. How do you break that? How do you break that cycle? And I would say through all of this that while all of these items are important, children need every one of these things, but they also need love. So you need nurturing, loving, knowledgeable parents. So let's say you're going into Publix, which is where I go. You go into Publix and with a 1.5-year-old child. Well, you can do a great early literacy lesson by talking, let's get 1 of these and 2 of these and 3 of these. And this is a circle and this is a rectangle and there's a butterfly here. The butterfly has wings. Here's what wings do and so forth. You could be, quote, illiterate and still do a very good literacy lesson. And frankly, you need to watch a minimum of television because children need interactivity. They need to talk and deal with and have parents sing with them and hug them and so forth. So you all of this is basic. And children, incidentally, who grow up without love, grow up to be very incomplete human beings. And so many of them do bad things to themselves and to other people. And a child who gets off to a good start probably is going to be a major league contributing adult all his or her life.
You know, I take what you're saying and I use my life as reference points. I remember when I was in school here in Miami-Dade County as a child, they used to give us these little student health insurance things, and we used to fill them out, and we used to get, modest but health insurance. If you broke your leg, well, you were insured. So people felt safe. And there's something else that we talked. Can
I interrupt you for one thing? So we live in the richest country in the world. There's not a strong second place. The richest country in the world. And if Florida were a standalone country, we would be the 15th biggest economy in the world. We can spend $2 trillion to bring Afghanistan democracy. I don't think we succeeded at this. But we have in Florida alone 300,000 plus children who have no medical homes. They don't have health insurance. And what about...
That's a crime.
So our children always went to a pediatrician. Our grandchildren go to a pediatrician. But what if you don't have a pediatrician and your child has a terrible earache? So you go to the emergency room at Jackson or Baptist or Nicholas or wherever else. And let's say if you're with a pediatrician, you might have a conversation. How's my child developing behaviorally, social, emotionally, developmentally? Can you imagine having that conversation in an emergency room? I don't think so. So this isn't socialism. This is simply fundamentals of what ought to be American decency.
Sorry, I got to write that one down. Fundamental American.
Your name. You agree with this, don't you?
Yeah.
Decency.
Yes.
Oh, come on. Oh, we're going to be right back, and we're going to agree on a whole bunch more things about our community. You could tell this is a love fest going on. Mendoza, you got 2 kids. Get us back fast so you can learn more too. Hi, when you're looking to buy or lease a car, you want to get every advantage that you can. That's why you have to check out Warren Henry, Land Rover, Range Rover, Infiniti, and Jaguar at 151st and Biscayne. I just got my new QX60 from them. It's just gorgeous. Vivian loves it. So do I. And that just means we're part of the Warren Henry family. Hey, when you buy your car, just like us, you'll get, well, they'll replace your keys if you lose them. Those are big, expensive keys. My wife, she loves to park close to the curb. She scratches the rims. I don't care. I take it to Warren Henry and they make it better. And I know I got the best deal because they guaranteed it. Don't forget, if you don't like your car after 3 days, you could return it. But guess what? Nobody does because they love their cars. So join me, my mom, lots and lots of my friends, more all the time, and of course, my beautiful wife, Vivian. We're all members of the Warren Henry family. You should be too. Always the best service, always the best price. You got it. Always Warren Henry. I just love that PSA. It's all about love and kindness. And that's what our show is really about today. Love and kindness. And I'll add one more thing, community responsibility. We have a responsibility to each other. That's what we're about today. What else are we about? Well, we're about the fact that I do real estate, I guess, and I'm responsible to a whole bunch of families in town. I help them do their real estate deals. I bring them debt and equity capital. I advise them. I give them suggestions. I can liquidate their properties, or rather sell their properties for the best price and terms. So reach out to me if you think I can help you. I've got all kinds of really cool programs. Why do you give me a call or DM me or email me? Why? Because when you call me, it's always all about you.
YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter at Jim Freed or at Freed on Business, and on Instagram at Jim Freed1. Now, back to your host, Jim Freed.
Ron, we have some great guests today. We have Dr. David Lawrence, who's not really a doctor. He's just got a bunch of great degrees that were given to him honorarily. We just outed him, but he said that earlier. And watch this, Dave. We're on with Marilen Marnett. And you know how I remembered it, Dave? Of course you do. Just the way you said to.
Joe DiMaggio.
Exactly. I actually met him. He was tremendous.
I met him too.
You know how I introduced him to my wife? Marilyn Monroe's husband. But he was such a gentleman. He was a gentleman. Rainy night at Carpaccio's in Bal Harbor. Let him finish his dinner. Waited for him to walk out. Waited for the valet to leave. And when he was there alone, then I asked. And I was really nice the whole time.
Marilyn, do you know who Joe DiMaggio is?
I know he's a baseball player.
Okay,
or was.
That's a start.
Well done. You've got homework, Marilyn. All right, we're back with Dr. Lawrence and Marilyn. We're here. We're talking about helping kids in our community. We talked about not all, because I got another one we haven't mentioned yet, but a number of the risks that they face. And here's one for you, Dave. I know you must have a program for this. Housing insecurity. Yeah,
it's a big, big issue, particularly in this community. This community is very expensive and getting more expensive. When I came to the Herald in 1989, if a home was sold for $1 million, it had a heck of a chance being on the front page of the paper. And now you see homes for literally tens of millions. Imagine being a teacher. You're starting at $47,000. You're clearly in the middle class, but tell me what rent you can afford and how would you afford to buy a home? And how about you're a social worker? How about if you're a bunch of different things? So affordable housing needs to be a fundamental issue in this community. I absolutely think the mayor of this community, Daniela Levine-Cava, understands this. I think we'll be seeing much more of it. I also think a bunch of businesses, George Perez, who runs Related, he understands this. We'll see more of this, I think.
Marilyn, what are you guys doing on some of these social issues, or do you specifically just focus on like supplies and teacher stipends and stuff? What are the donations that you receive go for?
So there's multiple programs that we offer. Yes, a big one and a very well known and very well used a program is our warehouse, where teachers are able to come and shop for some free supplies for their classrooms and to give to their students. We have another large one is our ideas for impact with the grants that we provide for teachers. So we have a huge expo where teachers share best practices with other teachers. The last couple years have been hard on teachers, teaching virtually, etc. And we want to keep them motivated. We want to keep them, with great ideas in the classroom. So we have our ideas with impact. We share lessons, STEM, STEAM, engineering, all those important topics, and we provide grants to them so they can afford to buy whatever tools, supplies they need in order to present those types of lessons to their students. We have our Food Force, which is an amazing program where those have become outdoor eco labs where we teach students about science, math. We harvest the food forest, and kids go home with bags of healthy, foods that they can share with their families. And we when we send those things with kids, we include recipes, and they're also used in the cafeterias so that kids start learning how to eat healthier. And also take better care of our environment. And also the Food Forest acts as it's like a Zen space for some of these kids. What's better than being out in nature?
I also want to have you give a shout out to some of your corporate sponsors, some of the other teachers that are teaching. Let's name names here.
Some of our corporate sponsors. So as I mentioned earlier, and thank you, that Wells Fargo is our presenting sponsor. Sapoznik Insurance, a world company, they're a big supporter. Of course, I want to thank some of our board members, like Pablo Pino from TD Bank. We have there's hundreds of teachers that have volunteered to be part of this. They're so excited to have you, business professionals like yourself, join them in the classroom, because they understand it's a great experience for the students to see folks from different industries share their experiences.
Now, Marilen touched on something when she talked about that virtual food thing, and I almost got real excited, and then she said they come out with bags of, and then I kind of stopped. Because one of the things that's a trend is eating healthy, eating local, and we have all this vacant land around all of our schools and in the neighborhoods that really need it. But I wonder if the kids and their parents get enough guidance from, and I'm going to just say it, the government. We got all these great agriculture people out there. Do we have any programs to help people eat in their environments and learn how to cook and eat better?
Well, I would say this. First of all, I think the USDA knows a lot about this subject. And so when food comes down, and it does come down, nutrition is a very big deal. And secondly, this school system actually has been a pioneer in what kids ought to eat. It's a juggling act because kids eat a lot of junk, and they like junk. But the school system has worked hard on the subject of nutrition. I'm not telling you we're at the promised land, but I'm telling you we have thought about it and done some things about it.
I want to give a shout out to the Urban Debate League. We profiled them a few weeks ago, and that's about getting our kids involved and talking and teaching. I think that at every level, if we can create activities that are intuitive, that help them develop these interpersonal skills, that it's very important too. In business, it's not necessarily so much as understanding how to do the spreadsheets or the writing. That's important. But the equally important is having the social skills. Marilen, do you I guess that when I go teach, I teach them the social skills. That's what it's going to be about when I interview, how to do an interview.
Correct. And we also have our Smart Path programs. Those are in high schools, and as I mentioned, we have that program to prepare kids for college, and we'll take them on college visits to UF, FSU, different universities around the state, and they get to meet with the recruiters from those universities. We teach them, teach them on how to, apply to these universities. It's really a great program.
That's great, because one of the things that I think is an economic barrier is the ability to travel and meet the people and go to these campuses. I don't think that somebody can truly, I'm going to just have to do it, Dave. I don't think somebody can truly appreciate the University of Florida until they visit it. I just had to, Dave. I couldn't resist. I waited 41 minutes.
Okay, well, I have a granddaughter at the University of Miami who's now a freshman. There are a lot of good places. I'm a big Gator fan, but I have one of my children is a graduate of FSU. I was just the other day at FIU with Mark Rosenberg. I'm on the board of Berry University and FAMU both. They're wonderful schools of higher education. The United States, for all the pain and the flaws, we have the best higher education system in the world.
Oh, yeah. And being a Gator fan, you're going to know how much pain I'm in when I say this. My nephew, he's at Georgia. I'm going to bring him down and I'm going to introduce him to the people that I know.
Good about himself.
He is. He's feeling great. My niece, she's at Georgia Tech. She's right now interning at one of the big international construction companies. But let me tell you the advantage that they had that some other kids might not. My niece, she's smart as a whip and straight A's, but she wasn't sure what a lady would be like in the construction industry. So she asked her Uncle Jim, and I knew. My nephew, he doesn't know what to do. He just knows he wants to be in financial something. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to be able to introduce him to all these captains of industry, me. But that's because they have me. So you know who else our community needs? Our community needs you, Marilen, and they need you, David. David, for helping lift the tide, and Marilen for bringing in other people to show an example. We're going to go to a quick break right now, then we'll wrap it up after I just gave high fives to everybody on the show. What a bad time to break up the momentum. Mendoza. I don't know where he gets those videos. They're so amazing, but they sure do project how wonderful it is here to live in Miami. You know why it's so expensive. It's because it's so great to be here and everybody wants to be here. It's a supply and demand issue. Supply and demand's affecting cars too. Know who has cars? Warren Henry. I just got my new QX60 from there and I love it. I really cannot thank Gio and Diego enough. Thank you to Gio and Diego at Warren Henry for making sure my wife had a contact-free, wonderful experience, and you can have that too. You need, Range Rover, Land Rover, Jaguar, Infiniti, 151st and Biscayne, Audi, got them in Gainesville. Something else, they sell everything in the Keys, Key West. What do all the cars have in common? Well, they're all great cars, and they come with a Warren Henry Advantage, which is a great list of services. Plus, I'll go off script a little bit here. You help Warren Henry support the community. A few weeks ago, you saw me interviewing the kids that won the Athlete of the Year award. Warren Henry puts back to our community all the time. They collect clothes and give them to the Alonzo Mourning Foundation to give out in our community. There are great people in our community helping our kids. So make sure to join Marilen, David, and I as advocates for children and the folks at Warren Henry. A special thanks to Larry, Warren, Eric, and Samantha for helping me in all my endeavors of helping the kids. And remember, join me, my mom, and my beautiful wife, Vivian. We're all members of the Warren Henry family. You should be too. Always the best price, always the best service, always Warren Henry.
Rebecca Carlson from Carlson Integrated. You know, a lot of our clients find that they can do anything, but not really everything. We are always excited to jump in and help. So whether you need another set of hands for a project or even comprehensive marketing management, our team of marketing mavens would love to have a conversation with you to see if we are the right fit. We do everything from logo and design work to email outreach and social media to writing and thought leadership. And here's a fun one. We are now offering our fabulous ebook of top 10 marketing tips on our website for free. So head over to carlsonintegrated.com and grab a copy today. And please always let us know how we can help. My email is Becca, that's BEKAH at carlsonintegrated.com. That's BEKAH at carlsonintegrated.com.
Hi, I'm Jim Freed, and as you can tell from this broadcast, I'm a community activist. I'm also in commercial real estate and residential. I help all kinds of families solve their problems. I have one client that has a whole bunch of short-term rentals in the Keys. Everybody wanted to give him a really expensive, low-leverage loan. He called me. Well, I got him a nice leverage, low-rate loan. Another guy couldn't get his house financed for anything. He's one of my big clients on commercial. I said, no problem. Only took us a year and a half because he was so complex, but we got him done too. Cashed him out for almost $500,000. And for all my clients that want to do development deals, right now I can get you financed all the way up the capital stack, 90, 95. And then I spoke to a guy who'll go the last 5% tomorrow. Yesterday I spoke to him. So call me. I can help you get your project financed. And I promise you, we're also going to continue to keep our eye on the community. We're not just going to build luxury stuff. I'm working with a number of churches in town to help them stay in place and build affordable community housing and educational facilities on their campus as well. Oops, I just outed myself. So stick with me, watch, and join. And this last segment will rock the world. And remember, when you call me, it's always all about you.
Welcome back to Freed on Business. Connect with us on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter at Jim Freed or at Freed on Business, and on Instagram at Jim Freed1. Now, back to your host, Jim Freed.
Here with he doesn't like to call him here with Dave Lawrence, my mentor and guide on helping kids in the community. And I'm going to get it this time. Marilen Marnett. How did I do on both ends on that? Only took me an hour. Okay. And the reason we're here is because of the education and development that I had as a kid in the Miami-Dade public school system. That's right. I was on the AV team and then on the TV and radio team when I was at North Miami Beach Senior High. That's where I met Rachel Sapoznik, who got me involved with all this. High five to Rachel Sapoznik. Yeah. And then just before the show, while I was promoting all of this, one of my, we'll just call it public sector friends said, hey, Jim, you should run for office. You're in such the public demand on all this. And I said, right now, somebody else in my family will have to carry the mantle publicly, but I will continue to show the way on a private sector basis from both a community leadership and a community involvement standpoint. And that's why I have Dave Lawrence on the show today. Dave is the redwood tree in our community. I had to thank you right up front, Dave. You're the man. You really are. Can't thank you enough.
Marilen and I want to hear no more of this kind of stuff.
All right. Well, then talk the facts and tell us why we're doing this, Dave.
Well, I'm a very old-fashioned American. I'll be 80 years old in a month and a half, and I am still as optimistic and idealistic as I was 70 years ago. I do believe in what Dr. King talked about, the long arc of history and moral and other justice. And I think we can be a better people. We've made progress. Right now, frankly, is a toughest time of my life. And I certainly remember 1968 and 2001 and November 22nd, 1963, and on. But we've got a real problem of talking with each other, and more than that, listening to one another. And boy, the future of this country depends on everyone having a real shot, a real opportunity at education, at health, at having the chance to be successful. If we have So many people successful, we have so much better chance for the whole country to be successful. So,
well, let me,
there's
my position on that.
There's just too much anger today, and we need to do a whole bunch better job of learning from other folks.
Yes, Miami is a perfect place to set that example too. I work with many people who are immigrants, and then their first generation, the children of the immigrants. I bring them into my home and I tell them that if you work hard and get good grades and stay in touch with me, you could do it too. I cleaned toilets. I washed pots and pans. I cut my hands at the deli. I delivered newspapers. I walked pets. Now I'm here, just like anybody else can be, because this is America. And Marilen, you and your team give people a chance to do this. Tell us a little bit about what you guys are doing.
So yes, I agree wholeheartedly with what both of you guys were saying, and really the education. Really, our mission is to ensure that kids have all the advantages that are available to them, to make sure, to give them the tools that they need in order to be successful. And other than, with the food forest that we provide, the program, our Ideas with Impact, where teachers get to continue to learn, different innovative lessons that they can teach to their classrooms, and materials that we provide to them. We also offer, I see it scrolling on the screen, we have the Teach-a-thon, where kids get the opportunity to hear from different professionals in our community, hear their experience, and see, firsthand, learn about different career opportunities. And of course, if anyone wants to participate, we welcome them. You see it's educationfund.org/teach-a-thon. Of course, that's presented by our friends at Wells Fargo. And I do want to take the time, Jim, to thank you to have us on the show today, to let us share what we're doing to try to help the kids in our community.
It's my pleasure. I specifically crafted today's show because I needed to have the Redwood of Education on with us. You got a new nickname, Dave. Sorry.
I'm more of a lilac bush, but it's all right. Go ahead.
All right. Well, yeah, you do bring mellowness and kindness to the world. I don't know what I am. I'm evolving, I guess. But the reality is that I wanted to get everybody here today so that people could see by example. The most effective way to lead is by example. So that's why I end the show. The person wants to do something, finds a way. The other finds an excuse. Now go out there and make it happen. I said it a little earlier today. I'll say it again later. But Dave, you're the example. That's you. That's you, Marilen. That's the people that teach at the Education Fund, and the people that are involved with Dave and his gazillions of organizations. Dave.
And our teachers. I have to say our teachers.
Thank you. Thank you. You put me with two superstars. One is a first timer.
There's a wonderful quotation, Jim, and the more or less inventor of the public school system, Horace Mann, for whom many schools are named in this country, said back in 1859 at a graduation class of Antioch, said to the commencement audience, "Be ashamed to die before you have won some battle for humanity." So that's the individual obligation of each of us.
Oh, say that again. I want to write it down.
Be ashamed to die before you have won some battle for humanity.
That's pretty cool.
I'm going to make sure my family hears that one.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That was just amazing. That's Horace Mann. I got to end the show. There's nothing more I can say after that. My gosh. Dave, Dave Lawrence.
You got a Horace Mann quote, and you got Marilen's name pronounced correctly. This is America. You can do anything in this world.
I love you. All right, Dave, I want to thank Dave Lawrence. Do you got a website or place you want to tell people to go to learn about some of your initiatives?
Just go to the Children's Movement website, which is easy. Just Google it, childrensmovementflorida.org. But it's easy to get on, and anybody wants to get a hold of me, my cell number is 305-773-1122.
Oh, thanks, Dave. You obviously watch all of the cybersecurity stuff I do on my show.
Well, I'm at the age where there are only so many things I'm going to worry about. And so if somebody really bad calls the cell, I will try to be
nice.
A good person, even to someone who's not so good. You had a little video on kindness. Kindness and love are so important.
Yes, you could keep going on that.
Yeah, but you don't have time.
Sure.
Okay.
Look, really, all it is about it's about kindness. Yeah. It's about love. It's about transparency. It's about honor. And it's about being grateful and giving back. And if you do those things, you're going to live a very rewarding, very full life that'll be great. And that's, by the way, Marilen, why I'm teaching all the extra classes, because I can't just let the teacher, all her kids need to, so they can all talk. And that's why.
Marilen, call me after the show.
As many as possible.
Would you?
Absolutely, yes.
You have my number?
Can you say it again?
305-773-1122.
Perfect.
Okay.
I will.
The Redwood of Education, Dave Lawrence, Marilen Marnett, our implementation vehicle for goodness, kindness, and wonderfulness. And me, I'm just Jim Freed, the facilitator. Remember, every Wednesday at noon, we do it live. We're on freedonbusiness.com. They just redesigned it. We'll talk about that soon. It looks great. High five to you, Mendoza, for that. We'll be on all the time. Why? Because I love doing this. I never thought I had a hobby until I reflected on this, and I guess this is my hobby. And this is where I say it. Remember, the person that wants to do something finds a way. The other finds an excuse. Now go out there, make it happen. God bless you. God bless our children. God bless the United States of America. Mendoza, rock the house.